So last time we talked was October of last year. I feel like it was so long ago, but it wasn't that long.
Really?
Or was it last spring? It might have been last spring, a year ago.
Probably last spring.
I think it was a year ago.
Okay.
It still feels like 2 years.
It
minimum.
does. It seems like 2018 or something.
Oh, bless all of our hearts
I know.
right now. But so much has happened since that time. So much. And yet, I can look back at that interview and the stories told and be like, I'm not shocked that we are where we are. Because those stories, everybody's stories that have gone on for years and years and years and years, of course we're here, you know? And we kind of, I won't go there and say we kind of need to be here, but that's hard to, yeah.
I agree. I think just a shutdown or reset is just so sorely needed right now. This climate that we're in has just brought back so many memories, you know, of things that I probably didn't deal with. And I don't know, I just find myself kind of being in a place of anger.
Yeah. And we were talking before, and I was saying, I can totally see that. Even the little pieces I get as a woman, but I'm a white woman, even the little pieces I get, and I think, multiply that times whatever.
Right.
And even the piece of anger I carry with that little thing, I can imagine. I can imagine.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you do kickboxing.
Me too.
You gotta let that out.
It's a great stress reliever.
That's why I run.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to hear some stories that you have that again kind of lead up to this point. And the thing about 2020 that is interesting, I was telling you before that I feel like I'm getting it more than I ever have, and I still have a long ways to go. But I'm getting it more than ever. When I read Austin Channing Brown's book, I want to say it, Living...
what is the name of the book?
I'll put it in the description. But living as in a white, living black and white.
I can't remember.
I know! Because it's 2020 and there's too much.
Awesome book, by the way.
I'll reference it. So good.
Yeah, it's an awesome book.
But I read it before this year, and I read the part where she talks about living in the shadow of hope, and how she feels like she's had to attend Hope's funeral. And I remember reading that thinking, I don't fully understand that, but it doesn't mean that's not true. Of course it's true, but I'm trying to understand it. This year, I felt like, okay, I think I kind of get that.
Yeah.
We think we've come so far, and I feel like this year has made me look at us in the face, all of us, and be like, damn, we haven't come near as far as I thought. And the only reason I got to think that is because I'm white, and I don't see the things that you are forced to see.
Right.
And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, we're coming. But then this year, I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
I think we're all attending Hope's funeral in a different way, but I'm thankful I can see it a little bit better than I could before.
Yeah, we've had some amazingly sad injustices to happen this year. And as I stated before, you know, I can't even put my finger on what exactly I feel, but I know that there's anger. I know that there's anger. It's kind of took me back to some experiences that I've had not too very long ago. And, you know,
yeah,
I think that maybe I've just come to a place where I'm actually dealing with those experiences, where I'm looking them in the face and I'm just like, this stuff just keeps happening. Mm-hmm. I remember a couple of years ago, my husband and my daughter and I had come down. We were about to take her to a gymnastics class, and the window on my driver's side was just completely shattered. Glass in the car, glass mm-hmm. everywhere on the floor. And so we called, our neighbor had come down. He said he was down there walking his dog and they were cutting the grass. So he said, I'm almost positive it may have been a rock from when they cut the grass. But why don't you call the apartment complex and, see if there's anything they could do. We did that. So they said that because they couldn't prove it, to file a police report. So we called the police, and the apartment manager, and the police ended up arriving at the same time. Mm-hmm. And the police looked around, looked at it, and, they told us, well, I don't think we should file a police report. We can't really say that this is foul play. And so, we were like, well, we only called you because the apartment complex suggested that we call you. So anyway, long story short, before I knew it, both police officers were white, and before I knew it, he was in my husband's face with his finger on his head, very loud.
And you were saying your husband had asked the question, so we're not going to do anything here?
Right. Yes, my husband had asked the question.
In a normal tone.
And of course my husband, he was upset, but he didn't raise his voice. Mm-hmm. He just, said, are we not going to do anything here? And before I knew it, it's like the situation had gone from 0 to 300.
With a finger, literally in his face.
With a finger in his face, and the police officer yelling, I have my daughter here, and, so bad that the apartment manager grabs my daughter's hand and walks off, so she doesn't have to see. And I'm telling my husband to be quiet.
Yeah.
And the police officer is trying to appeal to me. I'm just trying to tell him. And I said, but sir, you didn't have to. You raised your voice and you put your hands on him. Like, that was not necessary. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're the victims here.
Right.
And I just remember that shaking us up, like, for the rest of the day. Like, we did think about filing a complaint, but we live in that town.
Yeah.
And this officer knew where we live now, and I just didn't want any more trouble.
I'm so sorry to think that way.
Yeah. And this happened a couple of years ago, not too long.
Right.
And it just brought up another situation where when I was working in the hospital as a chaplain, I remember we had a young 48-year-old African-American female that was brought in already deceased. And her family was on the way. And so when I got down to the ER and I went into the room to see what we were dealing with, I told the staff that this is probably going to be bad.
Because it was so sudden.
It was very sudden. She wasn't sick. Mm-hmm. And I said, they're not going to take this well.
Yeah.
And so, and they didn't. Her daughters arrived. She had daughters in about their 20s. I mean, they literally was knocking over things, in the room because they just could not accept it.
Yeah.
And so the charge nurse at the time, who was a white woman, she wanted to kick the family out, of the ER. And I told her that that was not the thing to do. What we really needed to do was...
it would have caused way more trouble.
It would have caused way more problems to kick them out. It was a bunch of them, and they were very upset.
Sure.
And so, I tried to get her to see that. I said, let's just clean their mother up, put her in a bigger room so that the family can grieve and spend time with her. And before I knew it, I got a finger in my forehead by this nurse. And
she has no idea you were saving her. You're
right.
saving his family, and you're saving her.
Right. And, she was telling me, who I thought I was, but this was her floor. She runs the ER, and she's going to put those folks out, blah, blah, blah. And so I ended up calling the house manager who supervises the entire hospital, like overnight or on the weekends or holidays, and getting the house manager down there and, telling him this is what's happening. We need a bigger room for this family, and I need the ER staff to clean her up so that they can sit with her and grieve until we can get the funeral home here. He honored every request, so the request that I was making to her was not unreasonable, So, but I was really, really mad about it. She was in my space. Right. She put her hands on me, and what hurt me...
I've never had that happen. Just to say, that's not normal.
Yeah. And what really hurt me... What hurt me the most was... she reported me to my supervisor, and when I actually talked to him, he asked me, why did I get so mad?
And by the way, you and this supervisor got along.
So we got along very well. I loved him.
It almost makes it worse.
Yeah, it really hurt me. He was like, why did you get so mad? And I was like, if I told him, I said, if I had put my finger on her head, I would not be here. I would be fired. If that had been the other way around. I said, so did anyone reprimand her for touching me? That's why I got mad. She was in my space and she put her hand on me.
And you're supposed to fix it.
Right.
And
he said, well, you still have to work down there. I said, I get that. But, if I see her out somewhere, I would probably fight her. I'm still mad. I'm angry.
Right.
And I don't, And
having to hold it in, I can imagine that's fuels the anger so much more when you just have to, you're basically told, suck it up, hold it in, go fix it.
And just, thinking about these instances and just the climate that we're in, it's almost like, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but it's just like, these people think they can do whatever they want to. Like, they think they can touch you. They think they can just shoot you. They think they can just come in your space and it's okay. And then you're not supposed to do or say anything and just take that,
Right.
It causes for some anger.
Yeah. And here we are.
Serious anger, you know. And here we are, all of these injustices that are happening against African Americans, and I just feel the same way. It's almost like there's people think they can do whatever they want to and get away with it, and to some degree they do. They still do. It's 2020 and they still do. What do we do with that? What do I do with that? What do I do with that for my own daughter?
Yeah.
So.
Well, and those are two stories, and we want to, if you want, we can just skip the other two. But there are more stories that you have, and those are just two from one person.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not offended for so many reasons, and one of them because I know this is true because I keep seeing it over and over. And of course, I'm white. I don't hate white people. I love us. But
I love you too.
But we have a lot of work to do, and I am tired of you being placed with the task of fixing it. I am tired of putting that on our Black brothers and sisters over and over when, yes, we all have to work together, but we in the white community, maybe we weren't all, as quote unquote awful as some of the things that happened with our ancestors and grandparents and great grandparents, but this is what we've been given. And so it is just as much our responsibility as it was theirs.
Right.
And the problem is still just as much a problem today as it was then. And we got a lot of work to do.
I mean, I remember telling you about my dad. Just about my dad has been a real trailblazer. I mean, he's the first African American student body president at his high school, a white high school, in the 60s.
In Birmingham.
Well, in Alabama. He's not from Birmingham. He's from Talladega.
Oh, that's right.
But yeah, not any better.
In Alabama,
exactly.
In the 60s.
Right.
Big deal.
Big deal. And he was the highest ranking African American man in his company. I mean, just really worked hard and worked his way up. And I remember when he kind of fallen on some hard times and had to take a job that was lesser than what he was doing before. He was just stressed out, and he had a stroke. Well, we didn't know he had a stroke, but when my mom talked to him, she said, your dad's speech was slurred. And I'm worried. And so my sister and I went to check on my dad, and I remember him being in a hotel lobby with some men that he worked with and for. And we ran in the lobby and was like, Dad, are you okay? And he was like, I don't know what happened. I just kind of lost my train of thought. And you could see like part of his face was just drooping.
Yeah.
And so we were like, we're going to take you to get checked out. And I remember his boss or supervisor or whatever looking at us and was like, he's not going anywhere. And, me and my sister is like looking over, and he's like, he's not going anywhere. And my dad's like, well, these are my daughters. They're worried about me and they want to get me checked out. And he's like, did you hear what I said?
Wow.
And, I just remember how hurtful that was for me, because one, I knew my dad was worried about his job, and two, I just saw my dad get cut down, just so disrespected. I mean, in a way that I just never could even imagine someone doing to him, And now I'm an adult at this time, and so is my sister. And we were so adamant about my dad leaving, and he did come with us, but even just to think about it is still it's still very hurtful.
And putting myself in your shoes, trying to put myself in that position and trying to imagine my dad having a boss who's saying, you're not going anywhere, to me, when he clearly had a stroke or something wasn't right. It doesn't even matter. If you want to go out and just get a drink, it doesn't matter what he's going out for.
Right.
I just can't imagine being in that scenario where my dad's being so disrespected right in front of me and so unnecessarily humiliated. These are not isolated events.
No. It's a mindset that apparently continues to thrive even now. And sometimes, I really feel like some people, they're not even aware that they still have those mindsets, or that they think like that, or that's in their hearts. They're not even aware of it. And that's the scary part. That's the sad part. because you can't fix anything you're not aware of.
Right. And what's really scary, I feel like what's really scary too is not only not being aware, but feeling like that wasn't me. I was never mean. Those are almost the more dangerous people. And I can say that because that was me for a while. I remember going into hotels to use their pool and stuff when I was it started in high school and I got my license. Sorry, parents, they don't even know this. But my friends and I, we just park somewhere and sneak in. And when I say sneak in, I mean we brought our towels and we walked through the front door, through the lobby, past the office staff. No one stops us ever. And I wasn't aware of that privilege until probably post-college. So, and I wasn't a mean person.
Right.
But it's almost worse when you don't even catch it in your own heart. But yeah, I'm angry. I'm angry with you. And I know it's not the same. I know I will never understand it firsthand. But I'm angry with you, and I want to do what I can to ignite and enable my own white brothers and sisters to see that this is a fight we need to get in on, like, yesterday.
Yeah. I appreciate you so much for that.
And be the bridge.
Be the bridge.
I want to give a shout out to that for sure.
Right.
And our group.
Yeah. Learned a lot from our group. And it's not like we as African Americans can't learn anything or keep learning and growing as well. We all, got stuff to do.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't be fearing, for our lives and over nothing.
Right. No.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
Not okay at all. And I'm still looking for 2020 to get better. I really am. I know I know in the beginning how you talked about hope, but mine is still there. And I think it's not over. It's not over. We still have a few months to go. And I don't know. I just hope and pray that something good comes out of it, something major. Not just something for you and me, but just something for all of us.
Right.
Just some kind of reset, just some kind of, I don't even know.
Yeah. Like an IT reset. Turn it off, turn it on.
Turn it on.
Let's fix it. I love that you say that. It helps my heart to hear that too.
Yeah.
Glad you're in my life.
I know. I feel like we need a hug.
Yes. Who knows what our kids are doing right now? The house still seems to be here, and I don't smell any smoke. So
nobody's screaming.
All right. Well, thank you for being my bright muse.
Sure.
As always.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.